for us here locally. We have a team back in a finals, and it's the Mercury, back for the first time since 2021, Jesse.
For the 6th time in their franchise history. So they've been once in the 90s, and there were only like 4 seasons of the WNBA in the 90s, three seasons of the WNBA in the 90s. So they went once in the 90s, twice in the 2000s, once in the 2010s, and this is now twice in the 2020s.
They, of course, have the 3 championships from the late 2000s and then
07, 09,
14,
and 14,
I believe.
Yep. So, I mean, it's really remarkable what they've done throughout their history. It's nice to have them because the Valley doesn't have a consistent winner like that. It's usually, oh, the Suns made it this year. That's cool. And they're probably not going to make it again for 20 years. Like that seems
sure.
how it is. Or the D-backs, yay, they made it, and then they don't continue that success.
The cyclical nature that is trying to root for Arizona sports teams is how I would phrase it.
The Cardinals, the same thing. They make their playoff run, and then you think, oh, maybe they'll have some sustained success, and they don't. The Mercury, though, have had that, and that's really cool to see. And this team, if you haven't watched them, if you're, somebody that might just watch them if they get to the finals, they're fun, they're physical, they're an easy team to root for because they're like probably the exact opposite of what we saw out of the Suns. Like, they play hard, they never give up, they fight, they'll scrap. Like that's what you didn't see out of this past year's Suns team. And this is what you're getting with the Mercury. And it's been really fun to watch and really cool to see them make it back to the finals and, give us something this year in a year that's been really disappointing, starting with January 1st when ASU lost in the Peach Bowl.
I mean, look, I'm not going to pretend that I paid deep attention to this team, but I went to the game yesterday, as you and I discussed at the top of the show. You've been a good follower, a devout follower as far as the journalism is concerned with this team.
Yeah.
And look, what I saw yesterday, I think the way that you just described it, I thought that game yesterday was a perfect encapsulation of what this team is. They really struggled in the first quarter offensively, but they held firm enough defensively to hold Minnesota down. In the second quarter, they were able to force it all the way back to a tie to go into the half. In the third quarter, they faltered again, and they really struggled offensively, but they held firm enough defensively to not let the game get away. And in the fourth quarter, it was a comeback for the ages, and they really, really put the clamps down on Minnesota defensively speaking. It was, and I don't want this to turn into like a Barry of the Suns of last year, but it was probably the most entertaining basketball that we've seen in that arena in a while.
Definitely
in terms of
the loudest it's been.
It was a sold-out crowd. Over 16,000 people in attendance for that one.
Yeah, probably the best crowd the loudest that place has been since, I don't know, Cam and McHale played there.
86-81 the final. The Mercury beat the Lynx. Look, we understand their head coach says what she says after Game 3 and is suspended for Game 4. We understand that they were without their best player, Nafisa Collier. We understand that they were without one of their key trade acquisitions in Dejanay Carrington. I tell you what, though, Kayla McBride is a dog.
Yeah,
Courtney Williams
they
is
still
a dog.
have a really good team.
They're one of the better teams in the league for a reason.
Yeah.
This was the best team in the W this year. And I also think it's fascinating that the Mercury, it just so happens because of their bracket, how it laid out, they took down the 2 teams that were in the finals last year on their path to playing either the Aces or the Fever.
It's pretty remarkable. I'm not sure they can beat the Aces. The Aces are really good. They've been probably the best team over the past couple of months. But, man, if it's Indiana, that could be...
Talk about a resilient group after losing 2 of their starters for the season before the year was done.
But if they get Indiana, I think there might be another banner going up in PHX Arena.
Satu Sabali, one of the newest members, a core member of the big 3 of this Mercury team, says it took everybody to get this done.
Man, I've been to the semis before and we got swept, and that's not going to happen again. So I give my all. I give my all. But again, credits to my teammates. Like, AT is a force. She almost had a triple-double again today. She's not being talked enough about. Ka BB, Mac with their rebounding. Like Sammy has won championships too, and she's so overlooked. But that shot is lethal. So I just trust my teammates. Like, credit to them. I'm just spotting up and shooting.
To her point about her teammates, how about the fourth quarter from DeWanna Bonner? 2 huge threes down the stretch to get them in the position to win. And it seems like Nate Tibbetts has really pushed all the right buttons with this group from the beginning of the year to now. Catherine Westbeld and Sammy Whitcomb kind of added to this team because they're so top heavy, like another team that we know in recent memory. But this method, it worked out for them. And then the serendipity of Bonner asking out for Indiana. Oh, could you imagine if Indiana plays them and then DeWanna Bonner's there and then they're going head to head against one another? That could
would be
very interesting.
An extremely intriguing storyline. I think the Bonner thing has been really cool just because she's a team legend coming back.
Yeah.
And it's kind of given people the connection to that old core without, like, they haven't had to completely move on from that old core. I'm talking about like the Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner group.
Yeah.
Which it was time to move on. Like, I'm going to be completely real here. I don't think this team would be in this position if Diana had returned or they had re-signed Brittany Griner. Like, I think those players, they'd done great things for this organization, but BG was on the decline. Diana it was ready. It was time for her to retire. And I think she knew that. And they've replaced those players with younger players in their prime, and that's what has led to this, great return. But it has been cool for them to add DeWanna as a bench piece, as a player that can come in and kind of spark the team, make a big shot, is a fan favorite. That she's a future Ring of Honor member or whatever they call it over there. She'll have her jersey in the rafters. It'll be cool to see. It would be cool to see her get her 3rd ring with the team, which would equal what Diana has. So, yeah, I mean, it's been great to add her back, but kind of keep that link to that old core. But again, like I said, this team, I don't think they'd be in the same spot if they had kept those, core pieces around. And I know that, that's probably kind of wild to say because you're talking about the GOAT here.
Yeah.
But it's a truth.
Look, sooner or later, it just comes time. And look, I trust you with your opinion on this more than anybody. There's a lot of great people that have covered and followed the Mercury forever. You and I would agree that Jeff Metcalf is probably at the top of that list, but you're up there too in terms of your takes on this matter. And it's never easy to try and transition from era to era. And I think the fact that they were able to get themselves back to the WNBA Finals is not like I'm trying to lessen the idea of moving on from maybe the greatest women's basketball player, one of the greatest basketball players ever. Like, moving on from that is easy. It's not. But I think them establishing who they are this quickly is going to speak volumes for that next generation of Mercury fans as well.
And they got the right coach. This was a good hire. Like, the system that they play really fits this group. They got Alyssa Thomas, who is one of these players that could, is averaged close to a triple-double this year. And, when you have a player like that who facilitates so well, you just surround her with shooters and it tends to work. And that's what we've seen this year with the Mercury and with Nate Tibbetts' system. And it's really worked out.
Very smart roster construction from Nikki Wren as well. And a lot of, faith and assets and resources from Josh Bartelstein and Matt Ishbia as well. Like, that gets talked about a lot with this group, the way that it's worked out successfully. It's get hammered home in the wrong direction with the Suns because it didn't lead to something like this. But when you spend the money and it works, then it's like, oh man, look at this.
I do think that the new practice facility for the Suns did kind of lead to the whole Chris Paul thing. And that, if you invest in your team and have good amenities for your team, then they're probably going to do good things.
If you build it, they will come.